Hey everyone, my name is Rabit and I am taking the real estate salesperson program in Humber. The course is online. I made my other video for course 1 module 1. This video will summarize course 1 module 2. So I'm just going to go over each lesson summary, and it's not that big. It's only 3 lessons, so we'll just go over it quickly. Hopefully while going over it, it helps you. Because it does help me, and I hope it helps you as well. Okay, so in course 1, lesson 1, they talk about what is trade. So a trade in real estate applies to any action or words used relating to disposing or acquiring an interest in real estate, seeking to dispose or acquire an interest in real estate, advertising of any real estate, negotiating of any real estate. So that is the definition of trade. The parties involved in real estate, they all have like a professional term. For example, a salesperson, a broker, brokerage, they all have a term that uses in real estate. So a type of relationship between a brokerage and a seller or a buyer. A real estate brokerage is authorized under REBA to trade in real estate. As a salesperson, you are employed by the brokerage and as such are an extension of the brokerage. This results in all agreements with the seller or buyer being those of a brokerage and not yours as a salesperson. Okay. A brokerage typically offers 2 levels of service to sellers and buyers. A representation refers to the relationship when the party is a client. Providing services refers to relationship when the party is a customer. And terms relating to agreement. Under REBA, the term agreement is distinguished between agreements for the purpose of trading. Example, a representation of a customer, a representation and a customer service agreement, and agreements for the conveyance of an interest in real estate. There are various obligations associated with agreements, and depending upon the type of agreement, your obligation as a salesperson will vary. Then they talk about the transfer of title and scope of ownership. So in the course of a real estate transaction as a salesperson, you will need to recognize and understand the terms used when referring to the transfer of the property from the seller to the buyer. Common terms include title search, and transfer/deed. Okay, as a salesperson, you will not only be listing and selling the land and any structures located on the land, but also the rights that go along with the ownership of the property. Defining the scope of ownership and identifying what is to remain with the property when it is sold are aspects of a transaction you will need to ensure are clearly identified and understood by the parties. Common terms include real estate, real property, and personal property. Personal property is typically categorized as either a fixture or a chattel. The difference between the degree of mobility, as fixtures are securely attached to the property while the chattel is not. So what is real property? Real property is tangible and intangible attributes of land and improvements. Example, land, building, and rights. What is personal property? All property and improvements. Okay. What are chattels? Chattels. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Chattels are personal property that is tangible and movable. Okay. And then they talk about mortgage terms. Obtaining financing to make a real estate purchase is necessary for many buyers, although the actual approval for financing is not part of the salesperson's role. This knowledge is essential, so you will need to know about what is mortgage and all that good stuff. Then they talk about residential structures. So residential structures can be broadly grouped by category. A single family home will be classified as either a detached or an attached structure. The most common categories of a detached home include a bungalow, a ranch style bungalow, a B-level split entrance, and 1.5 story, 2-story, and a split level. The most common category is a detached townhouse and a linked dwelling. A multi-unit residence structure, excuse me, a multi-unit residential structure is a type of attached structure and is where there is more than one dwelling unit within the structure. Common residential's multi-unit structures include a duplex, a triplex, and a fourplex. And let me just summarize what is a single family. A single family is a detached dwelling, is best described as a building comprised of one dwelling. What is a bungalow? A bungalow is categorized by a lack of stairs with the primary living area contained on one floor. A two-story is basically a large living area combined with a separate level of sleeping areas. And a townhouse are a style of structure with 3 or more units joined together, together by party walls. Okay. Then they talk about commercial structures. Commercial structures are normally defined through their intended use and are often categorized based on common structural configurations found in the marketplace. Although many specialized designs exist, given the variety of intended use, the 6 most common categories of commercial structures are office, retail, mixed use, multi-unit residential, industrial, and agriculture. Okay, that was lesson 1, and let's move on to lesson 2. Lesson 2 is basically real estate governance and industrial association. We're gonna go over the summary here as well. So the role of the provincial government in real estate. In Ontario, the provincial government is responsible for the laws governing real estate in the province. Specifically, it is the Ministry of Government and Consumer Services that is responsible for REBA and associated regulations, as well as the general oversight of Rico. What is Rico's role and responsibilities? So Rico, in its role as a regulator on behalf of the provincial government, is tasked with enforcing REBA. It is critical for a salesperson to have an understanding of Rico. So what is their roles and responsibilities? I guess we can go over that in the lesson after. So Rico's mandate and mission. Rico's mission is for excellence in delivery of regulatory services that protect the public interest and enhance consumer confidence in the real estate profession. So basically, they are looking out for the consumer. Rico is self-managed, not-for-profit corporation. Rico is self-managed, not-for-profit corporation. Rico administers and enforces REBA in accordance with the terms of the administrative agreement between the provincial government and the council. Excuse me. The council's role and responsibilities are mandated to ensure that the regulation of trading in real estate builds and sustains public trust in the real estate marketplace. Rico is responsible for interpreting, enforcing, and suggesting modification of regulations. Rico is also committed to working with stakeholders to maximize the value of regulation through various activities. And Rico's activities to achieve mandate, basically enforcing standards, establishing minimum requirements, and education standards, conducting routine inspections for the brokerage offices, addressing inquiries, concerns, and complaints about the conduct of registrants, establishing and administrating insurance requirement for consumer deposit insurance extensions. They also promote ongoing education, exercise and investigative powers, being the source of consumer protection education. So that was Rico's mandates. Okay. Rico's operating structure. So the structure is composed of the board of directors, CEO, and a registrar. And then they talk about CREA, OREA, and local real estate boards. So organized real estate is defined as voluntary membership in organizations and is a three-way relationship consisting of CREA, provincial and territorial association, or OREA, in this case Ontario, and local real estate boards. These organizations exist at national, provincial, and local levels. At the national level, CREA acts in the interest of overseeing all Canadian realtors. Okay, at the provincial level, OREA, so Ontario Real Estate Association, represents any boards or salesperson who are the members of province real estate boards. And at the local level, real estate boards act as industry representatives for a given city or region. Okay, and then that's pretty much all of lesson 2. That's a summary of lesson 2. So let's move on to lesson 3. Lesson 3 is roles within the brokerage. Should be fairly easy because I think we talked about this in lesson 1. So it basically just goes over the roles of a designated broker of record and obligations. Let's just go over to the summary. So designating broker of record. Under the Act, every real estate brokerage must designate a broker of record. The broker of record must be registered as the broker with Rico, and must be employed by the brokerage. So the role of a broker of record in real estate brokerage, the broker of record holds a pivotal role. They are given overriding responsibilities for the brokerage operations, compliance with REBA, supervisions of registrants and non-registrants, that is sales and administrative staff, the overseeing of delegated responsibilities, and the review and the approval of trade-related documents. The broker of record ensures that the standards are maintained at all times as set out in the Act and regulations in matters involving the broker and the salesperson trading activities. So the broker of record is one of the main persons in the brokerage. A brokerage with multiple offices. So a brokerage may have multiple branch locations, providing all locations are registered with one location identified as the main brokerage office, and the remainders are branch offices. A branch office with 2 or more registrants require direct management by a broker or a salesperson who has been registered for at least 2 years and is under the supervision of a broker. Roles and responsibilities of a branch manager. Okay. A branch manager supervises all registrants and employees of the branch, deal with any failure to comply with the Act or regulation by anyone at the branch, and manage all branch records. Okay, it's fairly easy. Activities of salesperson working with a seller and buyer. Brokers and salespersons are actively involved in the listing and selling of real estate and perform many different tasks when working with sellers and buyers. Perspectives and duties will vary based on the type of representation. Example, whether or not the brokerage is representing or providing customer service to the seller or buyer. The brokerage policies, local practices and procedures, and the property type. Lesson 3 was pretty easy actually. It mainly talked about the roles within the brokerage. We can go over the whole summary if you want. We can go over it together again. So this is module 2, all of it, all of the summary. So every person has his vocabulary, specialized terminology, so as broker of record, broker, salesperson. As a salesperson, you must be able to recognize and differentiate between various types of structures. I think we talked about that. We already talked about what's the difference between real property and personal property. We can go over that again. Real property is tangible and intangible attributes of land, and personal property is all property and the improvements. And we already talked about this on Ontario. Ministry of Government and Consumer Services to continue to be responsible for Real Estate and Business Brokers Act and associated regulations, as well as general oversight of Real Estate Council of Ontario. So yeah, the Ministry of Government is responsible for REBA and the oversight of Rico. Organized real estate is defined as voluntary membership in an organization and as a three-way relationship with the Canadian Real Estate Association, Ontario Real Estate Association, and the local real estate boards. We already talked about that. Roles within brokerage, yeah, we already talked about this. So basically, module 2 was pretty easy. I do suggest you go over it again with yourself. Other than that, I think it's pretty easy. So that's it. That's module 2. We went through lesson 1, 2, 3. I hope this helps you. You could be listening to me while you drive or something. I don't know. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.